Good morning and welcome to this video. So, for a lot of people, if you hear the word Bigfoot, you'll immediately think of America. Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and even the Yeti is a somewhat similar cryptid creature, but more from the Himalayas. Now, you wouldn't usually associate Bigfoot with the UK or Britain. However, there's been a lot of sightings and reports of very, very Bigfoot-like creatures have been witnessed and been spotted, and have left people terrified after witnessing this massive, bizarre man/ape looking creature. So the British Bigfoot is today's topic, and it is a thing. Loads of people have seen it. There's been loads of witnesses, loads of reports, loads of stories. So yeah, that's what we're going to indulge in today. And this is exactly the sort of environment that a British Bigfoot would be seen in. So whenever it's been sighted in areas like this, in woodland areas. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to see one today, but let's have a look. So, UK has a lot of mythology and folklore behind it. We do have cryptids like the Loch Ness Monster as well, that's very famous to Britain. And obviously, more popular in the last few decades, the elusive big cats in the UK. Now, the British Bigfoot, I think, would be more of a terrifying experience if you were to see it, because it would be more up close up and personal. Now, there has, in terms of hotspots, so where this is in any particular parts of the UK where it's seen more so, it's seen all over the place. Norfolk, Suffolk, Salford, Rendlesham Forest, I believe. And then, not to mention Cannock Chase. Now, Cannock Chase and I think it's Rendlesham Forest. Rendlesham Forest is known as where the British Roswell happened. And after incidents like that, those areas tend to become a hotspot for paranormal or supernatural or bizarre activity. And obviously Cannock Chase, there's all sorts of alleged cryptids and happenings that go on at Cannock Chase. Now, I watched a documentary about the British Bigfoot called Elusive, and this was done by a British person who is like, you know, he investigates things like this. And he interviewed a woman called I think it's Deborah Halliwell. She's got a YouTube channel, and she's got a British Bigfoot research, like a research group. And so the first proper encounter I read about was off Deborah. And she was playing, I think she was in her teens, I think this was in Salford, which is actually in Greater Manchester, so it's not that too far away from me. And they saw a 7-foot tall, brown hairy creature that had the face of an ape, but it had some features that looked a bit more human. And it absolutely terrified her. She never ever went back to that area until this documentary, and she went back with the crew. Absolutely such a fascinating story as well, because I don't think if she would have had that experience, she would have the YouTube channel she does now. And she doesn't just talk about looking to British Bigfoot, she looks into other cryptids as well now. So shout out to Deborah for sharing her experience. Now, what does it look like? Obviously, we all know the idea of what Bigfoot looks like. You know, thought I saw something then. You know, 7-foot tall, hairy, half ape, looks a bit like an ape, looks a bit like a man as well. Also goes by the name Wild Man or Grass Man, all things like this. Now, And I saw an encounter, or read an encounter with some young boys, I think they were in the teens, and they described it as a 7 foot tall, hairy, man-like body, but with the head of a dog. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. What if some of these sightings are actually mixed reports? So, say for example, someone says, oh my god, I saw something that looked like Bigfoot. But what if they've seen a werewolf? Or something that's, you know, looks like, or an alleged werewolf? Because werewolves are also spotted in Britain as well. And they are described to be 7 foot tall when they stand on their hind legs. I've heard one report of 2 ex-army soldiers that were backpacking at like 2 in the morning. I think it was near Bempton Cliffs. And they said it looked, they saw this thing, they could see a silhouette of it, and then when it came into the view, they said it looked like a 7 foot tall hyena stood on its hind legs. And they've got nothing to lose, you know. Why would 2 ex-army soldiers make this stuff up? So, it's interesting, because one would ask, are these 2 different things? When people see a werewolf or a Bigfoot, or an alleged werewolf or Bigfoot, are they seeing exactly that? Or do they sometimes get a bit confused of what they've seen because they're not used to seeing it? Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the camera around, and I'm just going to show you some very interesting looking things around here. Just the sort of things that you would look for when trying to hunt a Bigfoot. I'm not gonna expect to find anything here. There's never been any Bigfoot sightings around here, but there are certain things that people look out for when looking for it. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll just go for a walk, and we'll talk about Bigfoot on the way. So there's one theory that Bigfoot uses sticks and stones to either mark territory, remember where he's been. So if you see interesting stick formations or stone formations, that is sometimes seen as a sign that a Bigfoot has been there. Also, if there are high areas that have been crushed or condensed down, that, you know, sometimes if you see a cow or a deer and they've rested somewhere and it leaves a mark, then that's a sign that a Bigfoot could have laid down there. Now, this is what I want to show you. So let me get close up. So someone has built what looks like a shelter. Now, this would typically, obviously, be called, you know, if a Bigfoot was here, maybe he built it to shield himself when it's harsh weather. Obviously, this could have been made by humans, it probably was, but in certain parts, this would be seen as a sign. And last time I came here, it was there, and it's still here now. What its purpose is, I do not know, but it certainly is 99% looks like a place of shelter. Has a British Bigfoot built it? Or has humans built it for the fun of it? Or maybe someone who's homeless has built it. So, similar to one of the other signs is broken branches and broken trees. Bigfoot will snap them off, and they will use sticks, logs, or as tools, or to get things off a tree, or to knock some fruit or berry out of a tree. And then you get the obvious, the footprints, so the impressions, the huge, size, whatever, 14 to 16 inch prints that we've had from the Americas, which obviously would be on the floor. All you'll probably see is mine at the minute. Now, while I'm here, constantly, I'm starting to, you know, hear things and turn around and stuff. But I think that's just the effect of this. This isn't an actual wood. This isn't a woods. This is just a woodland-esque area. But nevertheless, I mean, look at this. If I wasn't talking about things like Bigfoot and, you know, in the past video I've done talking about ghosts and paranormal stuff here, I don't think I'd hear as much as I'm hearing. It's like my brain is designed to. Let's find anything else. So, Bigfoot sightings have certainly increased in the UK over the last few decades. And it goes in conjunction with other phenomena like werewolf sightings, big cats in the UK sightings, strange lights and orbs being seen in the sky. I tell you what, there's a channel, Paul Sinclair has a channel called Truth Proof, and he documents some really, you know, he writes books about this stuff. And there's a place called Bempton Cliffs, and lots of strange phenomena, especially UFOs and strange lights in the sky. But then people also see bizarre creatures, large creatures like werewolf or British Bigfoot type creatures in that area. Now, this obviously was once a tree. It's been set on fire at some point. Now, I've not heard any reports of anything strange creatures being seen in this. This is literally a 15-minute walk from my house, and I've not heard anything of any bizarre creatures being seen here. I think some questionable humans come here late at night, but you never know what lurks. Another downed tree. I don't know, this could be an area where someone could sit and, I don't know, sit and eat food, rest. You know, they sit on the branch. I appreciate that. You might think, oh my god, Jamie, you're not going to see a British Bigfoot, you know, 15 minutes from your house. And I'm not expecting to see one, but I'm just trying to show you what people believe are signs of something being in the area. So this here, all these snapped and broken trees and branches, one would say, well, that looks like it's been purposely snapped or broken by someone or something. Now these are old, so they've probably weakened and not that hard to break. But another sign of a Bigfoot, like I said before, is the sticks and stones, and they're usually placed on trees. Like, say for example here, you might have it resting there, and it makes an interesting little pattern. Bit Blair Witch-esque, but that is another sign. And that documentary that I referenced before, that it's called Elusive, it's on YouTube, you can watch it for free, I think. They also have another documentary that they did before that called Sticks and Stones, and that is also about the British Bigfoot. And that just shows, like, you know, that is the evidence that they see when they're searching for British Bigfoot, and it looks very odd. This looks like someone at some point has made a fire here with these bricks and this log. We've got another down tree over here. British Bigfoot aside, sometimes you wonder what causes all these things. I know a lot of it is natural elements and people, but that is just bizarre. there's just so many downed trees in here. There's one over here as well. I know a downed tree isn't anything supernatural or paranormal, but it's just there's so many of them in here. Fucking, I nearly tripped. Another downed tree. And then we have this. This is another fire has been set here. But if you were going to set a fire, why wouldn't you set it by that sheltered area over there? If you were a person, a human, a rational thinking person, that's surely what you'd do. And now we have all these downed branches here. I don't know, someone could be gathering them or something. Again, all alleged, you know, there's probably rational explanations for a lot of what I'm seeing here today, but what you might see somewhere else could be a different story. Now this has definitely purposely been placed here. Now that looks bizarre. This has definitely been made for a fire. That's been burnt to a crisp. Huge lump of mud, sticks, stones, broken bricks. That's definitely been used for a fire. And we've got all these like little, I think where trees have once been, and they've been ripped out and the holes are left. More fires. Now, I've never had an encounter, so I'm into cryptid creatures and strange phenomena, but I've never seen a cryptid creature. So I've never seen, I think, something that I can't explain that's made me go, oh my god. I've seen something that, you know, I've seen a British big cat or a werewolf or a British Bigfoot. Now obviously loads of skeptics would be like, yeah, you've not seen them because they're not there. But thousands of people see these things, and there are some small bits of evidence. You know, there are castings of footprints, there are some videos and pictures out there. You know, some of them aren't great images, but nevertheless, thousands of people can't be wrong. They can't all be misidentifying things, can they? So, British Bigfoot. I'd love to go to other places where it's, you know, it's been sighted and, you know, people have got stories. There's never been a story from this area, but I thought it was a good opportunity to just talk about the British Bigfoot and look at what evidence people look for when they're out and about. Yeah, someone's carved something in. That looks oddly bizarre. Oh no, I think that's... If graffiti was carving, that would be it. Someone's done that. Again, I keep thinking I'm hearing things around me. Thought I heard footsteps then. Again, with all the tiny holes. Little animal burrowing in there, probably. So yeah, so the British Bigfoot has been sighted thousands of times. Over the last few decades, the sightings have definitely increased. So what are the odds of us getting any actual, you know, 100% proof evidence? I'm not sure, you know. I'd love to get evidence of cryptids, of any cryptids. But what is a cryptid? Like, I've thought about this. So these alleged werewolves, Bigfoots, Loch Ness Monster, etc., you know, Chupacabra, you know, all these cryptids from all over the world, are they physically here all the time in hiding, apart from when they're seen sometimes? Or is it more of like a supernatural phenomena where they're a part of a different reality or dimension, and sometimes the wires get crossed over and people from our reality get a glimpse of something that they shouldn't be seeing? That sounds a bit confusing. So Paul Sinclair described it really good. We're on, imagine we're on channel A, they're on channel B, and sometimes those are crossed over, those channels are crossed over, and you get a glimpse of something from a different dimension or reality or time that we shouldn't be seeing, which would make getting, you know, evidence of them, you know, physical evidence, a lot more difficult, because it's like that they're seen at the most spontaneous random moments. I'm sorry, but the placements of these down trees are absolutely bizarre. Now this is a Bigfoot video. I'm not going to turn it into, like, you know, a paranormal Blair Witch, but, you know, it's all very, very, I love it, it's very interesting to me. And then this looks like the neck of a Mamenchisaurus, which, well, it's a bit skinny for a Mamenchisaurus, but Mamenchisaurus, but right. So, what I want to know is your thoughts, your beliefs. Do you think it's possible that we have a British Bigfoot, or, you know, something that's being spotted that looks like a Bigfoot in the UK? Personally, I don't see why these things can happen all over the world. I mean, if strange phenomena and bizarre creature sightings can happen in one part of the world, then why not the rest? Now, obviously, some of these things are down to misidentification. Say, for example, you're scared, it's quite dark, you live in America, and you see a bear on its hind legs. You know, that's been described as I think that's one of those popular theories of misidentifying a bear for a Bigfoot. But they can't all be that. They can't all be wrong. So personally, I think we do have a lot of strange and bizarre things in this world that we can't explain, including what we call cryptid creatures. But again, are they always here? So when someone has a big British Bigfoot sighting, does that British Bigfoot then move on, you know, maybe travelling across dense woodland lands and hiding? Or does it completely vanish until it's then seen again? I don't know. Hang on a minute, I've got turned around here. So, oh, that looks very safe, does it? So, personally, I think there's a lot of stuff in this world that we can't explain, that's not identified, and I think a lot of it, I believe we do have physical creatures out there, but I think there is a supernatural element to it as well, and that again is the unexplainable side of it. We can't explain it. So how is that creature there? Why is it there? Why is it only seen at certain times? Like, well, spontaneous times, you know, there doesn't seem to be any patterns. But there are places that are hotspots for seeing creatures like this, and a lot of it tends to be around, some of them are around former military bases, some of them are around where historical places, so places where, you know, quite big events have happened in the past, or former burial grounds have been. You know, there are hotspots for this activity, not just British Bigfoot, but where, you know, you could, like Cannock Chase, for example, you can, you know, people see all sorts of stuff there. They see ghosts, but ghosts of different people. You know, they see a small girl with blacked out eyes there. A werewolf's been spotted there. A big black cat. A pig man as well. Pig man. That was new to me. I only heard of that about a year ago, but that's seen at Cannock Chase as well. So there is hotspots for these things. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think we have a British Bigfoot around, or do you think that it's something else? So thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe and like.